So, welcome everyone to the 5th edition of Immersed. I'm really happy that you came out here. Many of you are international. Really proud. Let's give us all a round of applause. So I think the best way to open up the show is to talk about why we're here. So I'm going to share some details, a little bit about Immersed, a little bit about future computing, and really why we're excited about the show, but of course why we're excited about you. So I entitled this presentation, Future Computing, Achieving the First Step. So at its basic level, what do you think of when you hear about these technologies? Digital realism or true life graphics, virtual, augmented, and mixed reality, artificial intelligence, the self-driving car. What comes to mind when you hear about it? Anyone? Okay, well, I'll tell you what comes to mind for me. The future. Oh, big giveaway there. But the future doesn't just happen. Let me show you something. On the left-hand side, this is a picture of arguably the very first video game system. This is from 1958. It's based on an oscilloscope. Anyone want to take a guess as to what that actually is?
What the game is?
Pardon me, I didn't hear you, John.
Do you want to know what the game is?
Yes. No? Well, close. Tennis, actually. It was labeled as a tennis game. And that's actually a recreation at the, I think it's called the Straw Museum, like the Museum of Play. And to the right are a whole slew of video game systems that happened over the course of 10, 15 years. So innovation doesn't just happen. Obviously, it's a process. Now, I love asking this question. Don't spoil it for those that have seen this part of my presentation before. How much did Frogger cost to make? Anyone want to take a guess? Throw out a number. Frogger. Or actually, let me rewind, because maybe this won't connect with audiences. How many of you are familiar with the game Frogger? Okay, good. So we're halfway there. So let's throw out a number. How much do you think it cost Frogger to make? Come on, you must have an idea. No? Okay, well, let me throw out a number for you. This is in 2018 US dollars, okay? $12.9 million, okay, were invested in Frogger. Now, how many of you think that sounds like an impressive number in today's dollars? Okay, well, let me impress you a little more. That was just for the marketing. Okay, are you want to be impressed a little bit more? A little more? Okay. That was just for the marketing for the Atari 2600 console. Okay. But the thing is, innovation needs more than just money. So let's talk about future computing. Okay. Future computing isn't a thing or a product, it's a practice. Okay. So what is future computing? It's the practice of turning dreams into reality through computers and computer media. And I got good news for you. We're all practitioners of future computing. So if you're in the computer business, it's not just enough to release a computer and have the same computer next year. No, next year's computer has to be faster. And if it's not faster, it has to be more inexpensive. If you're in the mobile smartphone business or tablet business or mobile computing, you have to, again, more processing power, more inexpensive, better resolution, more features on the phone. Cloud, okay? With cloud computing, you have to, again, have more processing power, or if you're not doing more processing power, do more in less space, or run it cooler than it is today. Gaming, you don't just release a video game and that's it. What happens is the next year's game is going to be more innovative play, using innovative technologies. If you work in the movie business or Hollywood, maybe it's an old reference already, but let's say you release Star Wars. Okay, wonderful. Well, the next sequel to Star Wars, you have to either have better special effects, or if you're going to do the same thing, you got to do it more inexpensive than the first film. So these are all examples of future computing, and of course, immersive technology. I mean, the whole nature of that market is enhancing. Now, as a practitioner of future computing, our job is to build what's next. And so what's next? Well, I got good news for you again. There is always something next. Okay? In my career alone, I mean, I've seen smartphones and 3D televisions and 3D movies, and then virtual reality came along again, but more enhanced and more accessible. Of course, artificial intelligence and mixed reality, robotics, all kinds of ideas that were really being reimagined and continually enhanced. And there's always something around the corner. There just is. So, but the thing is, the required fundamentals stay very much the same. So these are the core pillars of future computing: compute performance and platforms, immersive technology, and innovative content and applications. And each must have standalone success. So compute performance and platforms, that refers to cloud, PC, console, mobile, for sure. It seeks its own internal success. Immersive technology, virtual reality, mixed reality, augmented reality, 3D. Innovative content and applications. Of course, entertainment, games, serious use cases, enterprise, the whole thing. But here's the thing. If you don't have all three pillars, you could very well run into trouble. So for example, if we're thinking in the virtual reality world, you could have all the horsepower, computer horsepower you need. You could have the best virtual reality or immersive technology devices. But if you don't have the content to support it, you've got yourself a very impressive paperweight. Okay? If we want to just look at content, you may have the most vivid dreams of what you want to achieve. However, if you don't have the horsepower to drive it, to make those dreams a reality, or an artistic reality, I should say, you're going to run into trouble. So there is definitely an interdependence between these three pillars. So joint success is a beautiful thing, and this is how we framed the future computing ecosystem. So the customer and the client are always right in the middle, and they're surrounded by the three pillars. The pillars are very well interrelated, but again, they can stand on their own. Now, what are the challenges of future computing? Not knowing enough, and I got news for you. Anyone who says they're an expert in future computing is not an expert, because there's always room to know more. Weaknesses in the chain, reacting instead of planning. So what I mean by this is often an innovation will just fall in our lap, and we're like, oh my goodness, we got to take advantage of this, and they rush, and versus having the advantage of planning for innovations. And finally, failing to connect with clients and customers. Okay, so we might be very excited about technologies and innovations, unless our clients and the ultimate customers have that same excitement and see that same vision, we're going to commit the most cardinal sin, which is not making money. And unless those resources are coming in, those dreams stay as dreams. So what assets does future computing have to build with today? Well, we've already got product distribution channels. So when it comes to actually selling product, we can get it retail, we can get it through online stores. There's all kinds of methods available for distributing product. Standards organizations. When it comes time to connect point A to point B, there's countless standards organizations that are ready to do it. Media is readily available. When they're excited about something, they will cover it, promote it, get that messaging out. Conferences and events, well, here we are at Immersed, but there's all kinds of events all over the world. Many of them are specialized. Developer education, there's events, there's obviously academic education, there's online education, there's all kinds of methods available to us for people to learn about things going on in future computing. And finally, this is relatively new, I think only within the last few years, is what we'll call grassroots access to excited people and advocates. So I really like the meetup community, because it's a group of people that they volunteer their time, they get together on a regular basis. It's because they're really excited about a technology, very good grassroots level stuff. The catch is, these are all second stage assets. Okay, these are things that are readily available to us when we're pretty much launched. What about the first stage? Well, the first stage has three needs. Okay, so there's three elements to the first stage. So the first need is the opportunity, and there's always an opportunity. We may not know about it, but it's always there. Okay. Next is people, and we have people. You're going to learn later over lunch and dinner, and you're going to shake each other's hands. You're going to realize just how senior and exec and brilliant everyone in this room is. But this is just a very, very small part of the whole ecosystem. The third element, this is something that's a challenge, is the vehicle. Okay, a catalyst of building what's next. Okay, So this is where we come in. So the International Future Computing Association, or TIFCA for short, our mission is to lay down the groundwork and enhance the viability of building what's next. And we do this by being a place for the top industry leaders to regularly discuss the challenges and solutions needed to drive the future computing industry forward, both internally and externally. Okay, so that's a lot of words, right? So, so let me use a comparable. I actually didn't really have a comparable in our market, okay, but I did find comparables in completely different markets. And what I saw is that the most influential leaders think this way, okay? And I think future computing needs the same advantages. So some working examples: the United Nations, OPEC, the G20. I mean, these are all cases where people, they may like each other, they may not like each other so much, but they see the value proposition in getting together on a regular basis to know what's going on in the world and how it impacts them and what they can do to make the world a better place. This is an interesting one. This is a group called Bilderberg, okay? A little bit of a story here. So this is something that happens once a year. It was founded in 1958. What happens is a number of the top corporations from all over the world meet once a year. And the thing is, there's conspiracy theories attached to this because the meetings are secret. People go, oh, what's going on? These top leaders are getting together in this secret place, and who knows what's going on behind closed doors. But the other way to look at this is the reason it's private is so that these leaders, these very influential leaders, could openly talk about the challenges and the problems, so that they can work to address things. So that's the other way to look at it. So for us, it's important to us, members within the organization, that they're able to openly speak and share. In a way, they expose a little bit of vulnerability by sharing, okay? But you only are able to address the problems once you've done that. But the thing is, we're very much open. Any organization can effectively join. So this is our basic structure. So there's three groups within TIFCA, so reflective of future computing. The Computing Technologist Group, which of course is for compute performance in platforms. The Immersive Technology Alliance, which is for immersive technology, and finally the Alliance of Content Creators. Okay, and we've got a really strong management team. We've got for the Computing Technologist Group, Frank Soki. Raise your hand, Frank. He's yes. Let's give him a round of applause. Frank Soki is Vice President and General Manager of the Games Division for Intel. Then next up is Daryl Sartain. Daryl, raise your hand. He's the worldwide head of XR for advanced micro devices. Wanda's not here, but she's here in spirit. She runs a company called M2 Insights, which is a top research group. But she was formerly a board member with the Open Gaming Alliance, which actually joined forces with us, which actually brought us to this point of launching TIFCA. So why are we structured this way? Well, as I described earlier, the pillars are very much interrelated. There are challenges to solve that benefit everyone. Even if one of the three pillars is exceptionally successful, it benefits the other two. We have the right members, and we want to contribute to what's next. So then we get to Immersed. Okay, we're very proud we're at our 5th year, but there's a history that got us here. We started off as a virtual reality conference, then we became an immersive technology conference, and through our story, what we've learned over the years, we've become a future computing event. So what you're going to find is through the speakers and the people you're going to meet is we're looking at compute performance and platforms, immersive technology, and innovative content and applications. And it's not just about looking at these technologies, there are stories attached to these technologies. We want to hear stories about how people are using these technologies today, making a living out of doing it, so that we have a very bright, promising future in the future.